While modern cars are dumber, the modern car owner is getting even dumber at an astonishingly fast rate. I'm not just being mean either. There are literally people who buy EVs and are surprised that they take time to charge. Or there are people who are surprised that charging still costs money.
Why didn't anybody tell me that you have to pay to charge your electric car? Hold on. What's the benefit of having an electric car if you also gotta pay to charge it?
The car is great. I love the car. There's nothing wrong with it except for the charging. That is a deal breaker for me, honestly.
Me too, Zach. Me too. Anyways, there are no free lunches. Electricity is still energy. It has to come from somewhere. This reminds me of the Caleb Hammer meme where people unironically go on his show and with a straight face say, I hated paying $4 a gallon for gas, which is why I bought a new EV and took a $60,000 loan on it because that mathematically checks out. As time goes on, the thing I feared the most is becoming a reality. A world where people are so deep into consumerism that they begin to treat cars as appliances, but are shocked that cars are still magnificent machines with thousands of parts, hundreds of which are moving all simultaneously whether your eyes see them or not. Like a V8 car alone can have 8 moving pistons, 32 valves, 4 camshafts, massive planetary gear sets with over 40 components, all of which are attached to a drive shaft that is powering the axles that are spinning your 4 wheels. Appliance-like thinking just won't work for cars, and that's not just me being some car guy cultist, it's just a brutal reality of the object.
Oh my god, bro.
Oh, hell no, man. What the?
If you thought people being surprised about charging EVs or paying to charge their EVs was bad, wait until you learn that some people try to return their cars, like it's an Amazon package or something that they bought from Walmart 90 days ago.
A Porsche customer that's using a little bit too much gas on DoorDash. They're looking to return their car, I guess. That's not necessarily something we typically do.
About that Porsche on from me yesterday.
Okay, yeah. How you guys liking it so far?
Man, is there a way we can return this thing, or maybe we could swap it out for something else?
Swap it out for something else? What do you mean? What happened?
Well, there's nothing wrong with the car, nothing like that. The only thing is, I've been using it for DoorDash last night and then today in the morning, but man, it just used too much gas, man.
Here to return that car I bought.
You can't return a car, so...
Yeah, but I was actually reading online. It says you have 3 days right of rescission thing on Google, so I'm here to just return it.
Well, not everything you read online is true.
Also, before someone references that 3-day law, there is actually no federal law that guarantees a car dealer has to go through with a return. In fact, most of the times automobiles are exempt from those laws. I don't want to buy a car that was driven for 1 week by another customer who then returned it with 1,000 more miles. It's stupid. The moment you drive a car off the lot, there's a reason why it drops 5 to 15% of its value right then and there. If you change your mind, you technically can sell a car back to the dealer the day right after, but you're gonna lose that cash. That's the reality of the deal, and it needs to stay that way. There are no takesies backsies. There are titles, paperwork, insurance, registration. You obviously need a license or permit to even operate one, and this is for good reason. A lot of these items are very difficult to decouple from one car to another, especially from one owner to another. I'm okay with this process being difficult because this should never operate on a target level of return policy, because that's going to make absolute chaos for every other consumer. And don't even try to mention the Carvana clickbait 7-day return policy. One quick Google search will show you the horrors of their return policy and how it's as short as 3 to 5 days in actuality, and any minor scratch, dent, or whatever it means that you keep it, no questions asked, meaning that they won't immediately have that cash available to roll into another car purchase right after they returned it. So again, it's still not like a normal return policy where you get the money instantly and you can exchange or buy it for another item. With all due respect, this system is perfectly fine. Cars just shouldn't be impulse purchases. This is not a car problem for once. This is a consumerism problem. This is a bad car owner problem. Cars should never be impulse purchases, period. They're the second most expensive purchase in most people's lifetime, and at the rate that the housing market is going, cars are currently the most expensive purchase for most millennials and Gen Gen Zers. Get those frontal lobes working, flush out that brain rot. Come on now, we can do this. We can't be using short-term attention span thinking when we're buying $50,000 cars these days, or even $25,000 for the average used car. I think I underquoted that one still. I'm gonna put it on screen. I know I made a video on that earlier, like a few months ago, but I like to delete it from my mind because that's my way of coping with the horrible car market prices. Anyways, I think it's reasonable to keep your car for 7 and 10 years. I really think 10 years is like a golden standard, and some of our parents used to even keep them for 15 years or longer, which is where I thankfully got the habit from. Sure, cars aren't as reliable as they used to be, so I wouldn't blame someone for wanting a new one every 10 years, but these people can't be changing their minds a few years later, much less the day after they bought it, trying to return it. Bro, like, I've been staring at this big blue lovable bumbling idiot for 8 years now, and I still love her. I modded her, then someone wrecked into me, I repaired it, I modded her some more, and I still drive it almost 100k miles later. The coyote tick still haunts my nightmares though. I got lucky that the first time it happened was within my 60k powertrain warranty, but Callie, I swear to God, if any funny business happens with that coyote engine, I'm not even gonna bother buying a new car. I'm gonna be completely real with you guys. I will straight up ride my Royal Enfield through the cold winter months. I do not care. That is how adverse to car buying I currently am, even as a car enthusiast. I cannot be effed to buy another car right now, and honestly, with this market, so should most of y'all. The prices still suck. Honestly though, it's not that bad sticking with a car for so long. You learn to deal with it. Ultimately, you survive, you endure, you evolve. Sorry, I might have watched Skirk's trailer one too many times, and no, I'm definitely not still playing Genshin in the big 2025. F2P by the way. Anyways, moving on. Like, can you believe there was once a point in human history where every boomer and their wife would adjust a carburetor and air-fuel ratio before going out on a cold winter morning drive? Then she'll proceed to shift smooth as butter, double clutching, no granny shifting because there were no synchros on most old cars back then, and they're just casually going to church like that. Like, a modern car owner cannot even fathom what that sentence means, much less what a carburetor is. Charlie, I love you, man, but please stop saying carburetor when referring to modern cars. Just because it has the word car in it doesn't mean that every car has one. Also, most people my age who drive modern manuals are spoiled with their synchros and auto rev matching. Like, go ahead and test drive a new 400Z or even the Type R Civic. I get that technology gets simpler and more efficient over time, and I don't expect the average American to know about carburetors or even drive stick shift, but dear God, would I be lying if I said that the oversimplification of cars over these past decades have made people underappreciate them, and as a result, get more reckless and less educated about them. Based on all the boomers I used to speak with at the Corvette Club or the Harley owners I used to cruise around with, and oh my God, guys, I'm not beating the boomer zoomer allegations. Anyways, man, woman, or otherwise, boomers talked and treated cars with this level of respect that you just isn't universally common with younger generations these days. It's a rare boomer W. I may hate their politicians and CEOs, but dang, were boomer drivers some of the most down-to-earth people that you'll ever meet. I feel when you had to literally be so knowledgeable about cars to even drive one on a cold morning, it really humbles someone and makes them appreciate the item more and also understand what it means to command such a vehicle and get behind the wheel of it. Too many cars are so computer-like and smooth now that you could swap their windshield for a screen and you'd think that you were playing a video game, and I feel like that has made people become more careless over the years. Cars are still complex machines, and I genuinely don't think everyone needs to be behind the wheel of one. I think cars are a privilege, not a right, and that's not me gatekeeping people. There are a lot of people who don't actually enjoy driving and would gladly stop driving if they didn't have to or if an alternative was available. However, instead of accepting their Lord and Savior, the almighty train, they think the alternative should be the corrupt consumer hellscape of self-driving cars. Like, straight up, self-driving cars are mid. Almost everyone and their mom who fantasizes about self-driving cars has that, like, appliance-like fantasy in their mind. This isn't your toaster, Karen. It's a 4,000-pound death machine that can murk a family of 5 if it's not maintained properly. Even then, some people are still logging out of life because they put a fork in a toaster. Like, I really do not trust people with kitchen appliances still, much less a 4,000-pound infantry fighting vehicle. Look, I love Koenigsegg's and Pagani's as much as the next car guy, but I'm still very much aware of how much better trains and other public transit advancements will make society for both car enthusiasts and non-car enthusiasts. And I know there's still some self-driving fanatics who are like, oh yeah, but self-driving cars will fix traffic. Thanks, CGP Grey. Look at what you did. So the argument with self-driving cars is that a computer doesn't make mistakes, therefore it eliminates the risk of bad drivers or human error, which in theory is only partly true, because have you seen the title of this video? Yeah, guess what it doesn't eliminate? Bad owners. I don't care how smart the computer is, it will not magically regrow back brake pads that have worn down or replace tire tread that is balding. A poorly maintained car will still drive dangerously like a poorly maintained car, regardless of the computer driving it. The less involved with cars people get, the more like appliances they treat them. There are still several people who I unfortunately know who unironically drive on their spare, not realizing it's a wheel and tire that should only be driven for a few miles, and then they get super shocked when their alignment is permanently screwed, or if their car encounters transmission problems as a result of two wheels spinning different speeds for several hundreds of miles on end. Like, to any tech bro who still thinks self-driving computers are going to calculate a car's current brake condition and therefore adjust the braking input accordingly, congratulations, that's called ABS. We've had that for half a century now. These computers still don't compensate for worn out, better yet non-existent brakes, because like I mentioned earlier, people drive beyond worn items. They will continue to drive on a spare wheel. They'll go down to the metal if they have to, and same with brakes. I unfortunately know people who get in car accidents because they just kept driving on worn brake pads. Like, one of my friends is literally works in insurance, and the amount of claims he used to deal with where people unironically just don't maintain their car. It's computer software, not car hardware. Here's a good example. If I chopped off someone's legs and then downloaded an app onto their phone called Walking, can they suddenly walk again? No. But there are people who think that this actually works for cars. I will never stop referring people back to the dumb owners at the start of this video. There are people who exist. It's not rage bait. They legitimately think cars are like appliances. The bad owner, therefore, is still a factor you must consider that cannot be enforced via the self-driving computer. What's stopping these terminally consumer-brained people from spending $2,000 on the latest phone or new purse instead of a set of brakes? Sure, you could try to engineer a kill switch that prevents the car from even starting if it senses major maintenance issues, but that could be argued as anti-ownership practices that borders on authoritarian levels of enforcement, so I don't think that should be the actual solution. I think the real solution is to stop treating cars like appliances and encourage people to be more knowledgeable and responsible car owners. I thought I used to make fun of non-car enthusiasts too much in the past, but dang, maybe I haven't made fun of them enough because they've only gotten dumber since then. Also, shout out to Pippa for at least educating herself by watching my car dictionary videos.
Chat, I thought you were making this up. I thought it was like a typo for like racer. I thought it was a slur. Is this a slur? Or does it just feel like a slur because it calls you guys out sometimes?
Sorry, your chat had to spam Ricer with the hard R. No, it's not a slur. Yes, even if you consider it one, I'm still gonna say it. Anyways, a self-driving car of a bad owner who has maintained it horribly will still be a menace to society on public roads. The reality of friction and the physics engine that is our universe that we live in, that car is not going to stop no matter how intelligent that self-driving computer is. Therefore, accidents will still happen, and bad drivers will fundamentally still exist as long as dumb owners still exist. It doesn't matter how good self-driving cars or uber smart AI and computers get. Thankfully though, I've got this amazing idea for all the self-driving car fans. Take a listen. I can get self-driving to work. All right, first, we take a car, right? Then of course, you make it self-driving. Then second, you gotta make it really big. That way a lot of people can fit inside, Good efficiency. Americans love space. That's why they buy SUVs to go 15 minutes to a grocery store to only buy 2 bags worth of groceries. After that though, you link a bunch of these cars together. Then, to save on computing power, you only have the one in the front do the self-driving program, and it's in control of the rest of the chain. You still put a human in the front for supervision in case something happens, manual override. And then, to prevent the other cars from deviating off course so they don't accidentally stop following the one in the front, you can put them all on rails. And even better, these rails have lower friction, so these vehicles now move more efficiently, and economy of scale starts to kick in, so mileage anxiety isn't really a concern anymore because they can actually go pretty far distances. Wait a second, guys, this is a train! Self-driving cars are literally just worse trains. Stop trying to fund self-driving cars when we should just make more trains. This is a totally valid crash out. Like, look at this map, all right? It's no wonder. I'm so sick of driving lately. I have no choice anymore. And to any Europeans, Asians, or really anyone else around the world watching, this whole section of the United States has basically no civilian train infrastructure, or it's very localized and can only go like 30 minutes down the road before the route ends, or it's just poorly functioning and not reliable because it's like not working because the government doesn't want to fund it. But Bladed, the United States is too wide and large and spread out for trains to work. Okay, explain China and Russia and how they made trains work then. Well, the reason we don't have it and they do is because it's just evil and it sucks. No, the rest of the world, the rest of the free world has it too. Like, this isn't a matter of democracy or politics. I'm so sick of people bringing that in, like somehow trains take away your freedom to drive. It is the exact opposite. They enable you to drive more because the roads won't be cluttered. Hundreds of millions of drivers every morning who don't even want to drive, and you can just put them in a train and you can go buy a nice freaking Corvette, make some American V8 noises, and freedom down the road as you soar like an eagle. Because, reminder, the video topic, alright? The more we keep babyifying the car ownership experience, the dumber the average consumer actually gets. And self-driving cars is probably one of the last things we'd want to hit the mainstream. I now trust each successive generation even less than the previous one when it comes to car ownership. Bro, millennials don't know what carburetors are. Gen Z can't drive stick shift. Gen Alpha can't even read for some of them. So we are now trusting these people to have a driver's license. Most people who want self-driving cars forget that they still have to basically own a car. Like they for some reason think it just becomes like an appliance. People are gonna be that dumb. The start proved that. And those people weren't rage baiting. There's unfortunately many of them, and they're like multiplying by the day, and it probably is only gonna get worse. Like, so to any of the car guys out there, right? If you want some peace and freedom, yeah, freedom, you know, that American patriotic things you guys love so much. Did you know that trains are the opposite of communism because they give you more freedom to choose how you want to move, which means there's going to be less traffic so you can actually enjoy driving again and therefore have more freedom. Yeah, anyways, that's it for this video. Like this video if you aren't a bad car owner, and share it with everyone this time. Literally everyone. Your pets, your aunt, all your non-car enthusiast classmates and coworkers. Everyone needs to watch this video. We have to stop this bad car owner virus that is spreading worse than the 2020 pandemic. Subscribe for more weekly situations, and thanks for watching. I'll see y'all next time. Bladed Angel out.